Hi, I'm Brendia Miller, just a girl who feels like she barely survived from being 18 to 29, from an abusive marriage to divorce, pregnant with my sweet girl to the mom of an angel, and this was all before I was even 20. Since then, I married the high school sweetheart, had a sweet boy, wrote a few books, blogs, and in 9 years, 3 states, 4 cities, 13 homes, 2 hotels, 1 angel girl, 1 sweet boy, a bunch of jobs, and an insane amount of love and laughter. Here I am, 30 years old, talking to you, sharing my wisdom from the infinite lessons I have learned while still learning to navigate around the things that I haven't. Come along and navigate with me. There is room here for your joy, your grief, your hormones, your emotions, your friendships, relationships, heartbreak, and all of the other things that come along with being in your 30s. Hey 30-something gang, welcome back to the In Your 30s podcast, where we tackle the challenges and celebrate the victories of this transformative decade. I'm your host, Brendia Miller, and today we're diving into a topic that's near and dear to many of our hearts, breaking the generational curse of financial struggle, and why all of your hard work is not just worth it, but crucial for a brighter future. Everywhere you go, you hear people saying, is it worth it? And you have people encouraging you to slow down and not burn out and all of these things. All of these things that can sometimes feel discouraging when you're trying to break a generational curse, such as financial struggle. So yesterday I was on the phone with my mom and we were just talking casually. Like, I wasn't even complaining to her. I was just saying, yeah, I'm just working a lot and TJ's just working a lot and we just work a lot. And out of nowhere, she came up with the question, so my question to you is it worth it if all you're doing is working a lot? And immediately my answer was, yes, it is worth it because, we need the money. And on top of that, we don't do anything that we don't love to do. But there's a deeper worth to how hard we work. And honestly, some people just won't get it. And I'm not going to try to explain it to her because her thinking like that is the exact reason why I have this generational curse to break. Don't get me wrong. I love that my mom was a stay-at-home mom for the most part. But honestly, this wasn't my curse. I didn't put this curse on us. And so I'm just breaking it. I'm just here. I'm just breaking it. I mean, don't ask me. I'm just breaking the curse. But when people who are supposed to support you and understand you don't, and they ask you questions that discourage you breaking curses or meeting goals, it sometimes can make you wonder yourself, is it worth it? Most of us don't have to imagine that we're in our 30s, we're working tirelessly, and we find ourselves asking, is it really worth it? Is all the effort worth it? Is all the time? Is all the heartache? Is all the getting upset, the stress? Am I making a difference? Today we're going to explore why breaking this generational curse of being broke and struggling is absolutely more than worth it. And we're going to dive into what it really means beyond the money. Because I think a lot of people, when they notice you're working and you're reaching all these goals and you're making all this money to reach these goals and accomplish these things, they can't get past the money aspect of it. And honestly, the work that I'm doing and the work that my husband is doing has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with legacy. But today we're going to talk about it because unfortunately, most of us can imagine it. We're living it daily. We have our parents and our grandparents asking us constantly, is this 60-hour work week worth it? And it's like, you literally put us in this position to break this curse. Like, you're going to have to step back, homie. So let's talk about it today. Now, the first thing I want to do is start by acknowledging that there is a huge emotional and mental toll of carrying the weight of financial struggles. We all know this, especially if it's something your family has dealt with for generations. It's a very heavy burden to bear. And the desire to break free from the cycle is such a powerful motivator. But it's important to remember that this journey isn't just about money. It's about creating a new narrative for yourself and your family, a narrative that fills your life with opportunities and choices and just overall improves the quality of your life. I remember when I was younger, when I was a kid, my grandmother would work and she would say, if I just need extra money, I'll work overtime. And she would work overtime. And no one ever said, you know what, is it worth it? She just did it. And then now I'm an adult. And my mom never worked when I was a child. She was disabled. We had food stamps. We had government housing. We had clothing closets. We had food banks. We did not have income, but we had a lot of other resources to get what we needed. And I always remember looking up to my grandmother because she would always go to work and she would just go and be able to buy the exact thing she wanted to eat or to wear. And I just love that so much. But what I didn't realize was because she would go to work so much and then blow all that money, she wasn't really breaking any curses. She wasn't really building a legacy. She was setting an example, but she just simply wasn't building nothing for future generations. And here we are. She is sick, very sick, dying sick. And she's becoming a person I don't recognize. But on top of that, she has nothing left, nothing to help her. No money, no resources, nothing to leave behind. And that right there is a major motivator for me personally. Breaking the generational curse is really like planting a tree. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of nurturing, but the fruits of your labor will be enjoyed for generations, and the roots you plant today will provide stability and nourishment and growth for your family tree in the future. The problem is, so many elders have not created this healthy, nurtured fruit for generations to go. And I don't want to be that person. And obviously, we're not talking about a literal tree, you guys, but you get what I'm saying. I want for my grandkids or my grandkids to sit and say, my great, whatever, however many greats, grandmother and grandfather worked so hard to get this and it's so cherished, and or they open these doors that our family's never been in. We've walked in rooms our family never could have walked in generations ago because of what they've done, what they have put in, the effort and the nurturing that they have put in to this tree, which is our life. So with all that being said, now we're going to dive a little deeper into what breaking the generational curse of money really means beyond the financial aspect, because there's a lot of aspects that come into this, and it really can do so many things for generations if you really know what you're working on. So first off, let's talk about that mental and emotional health. We all know that financial instability often brings a lot of stress and anxiety, and it can really put you in a state of depression. So by striving for financial stability, you're not just aiming for a better bank balance. You're working towards a state of mind where you can experience peace. Your stress is reduced, and you can eliminate the constant worry of having to make ends meet. You can eliminate the worry of, are we going to be able to eat or pay our bills, or whatever the case may be. This leads to a better overall mental health, which is really a cornerstone of a fulfilling life, and one of the things that I truly have been searching for and working on for years. And knowing that I'm in a place now in my 30s finally where I don't have to worry about my bills getting paid, it truly does bring a sense of relief to me and my husband, honestly. Imagine waking up without the dread of unpaid bills hanging over you And you just have this peace that comes to mind with financial stability, and it allows you to focus on what truly matters, like your personal growth, your relationships, and your passions. The thing about it is, a lot of people, I think, they will be financially stable for a couple months, and then they will think that they don't have to no longer put work into it. But financial stability is still a consistency. You do still have to be consistent, and realistically, it takes a while to get to the point where, okay, I'm consistently working. Now all my stuff is paid up. Now all my stuff is paid ahead. Now I have a nest egg. Like, it takes time to build to that. So it takes time to get that healthy, like, peace over your financial stability. You may be working your butt off right now and you are still having trouble paying your bills. It doesn't always have to be like that. It just takes being very financially smart and using the money you're making correctly to prepare and provide for the future. And another way that you can break this generational curse is that education and that knowledge on how to use your money and your finances correctly. You know, we have to consider that there really is power in education and knowledge. And growing up, so many of us did not have access to financial literacy. Breaking that curse just involves educating yourself about money management, investments, and savings. It's not just about going to work and making money. And everything that we do personally isn't about being out of our house making money. Some of the work that we do is in our house. We're here with our kid, but we just have things that have to be taken care of so that our kid isn't taking care of it later on down the road. You know, this knowledge is really an incredible, powerful tool. And it's really about equipping yourself and your family with the tools to build a secure future and just make really smart and informed financial decisions. You know, like I said, my grandmother used to work hours and hours and hours, and then she would take 11 of us to Calhoun's and we would go eat, and she'd have to pay this big old bill, and then we'd go clothes shopping, and then she would like buy us anything we want. And if she wanted to go do something extra or wanted to buy extra stuff, she'd just work overtime and it was fine. But she had no true financial literacy on how to save that money and invest that money and manage that money properly, because spending it the way that she did has put her in a position where she's now bedridden with no money, and she is hardly able to provide help and care for herself without other resources. And you may be thinking, well, if she can get those resources, then she's fine. But those resources take a lot of work and a lot of effort, and there's little contracts and clauses, and you don't know what you're signing away when you sign up to get help, because in her case, it's like her house. Like, literally, she's signing her house away just to have help because she doesn't have any money and she did not prepare for her future. And the impact of this knowledge extends beyond your immediate family. It can inspire your community. It can help break cycles of financial literacy and foster a culture of learning and growth. When you teach your kids or even your neighbors about money, you're planting seeds that will grow into a community of financially savvy adults. And I think that is something that is so important. When you have the education and the knowledge, be a role model and share it and just communicate it with people, because everybody doesn't have that same access. Another thing that financial stability can improve is you will have greater opportunities and choices. You're no longer stuck in a job you hate because you need the paycheck. You have the freedom to pursue careers or passions that truly fulfill you. It means really having the ability to take risks and starting your own business or going back to school without the fear of, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to feed my kids? How am I going to fix my car? How am I going to make my car new? Think about it like this. How would your life change if you had the freedom to make choices based on what you love rather than what you can afford? Breaking the curse opens up a world of possibilities that you can live life on your own terms. And it's funny because this is actually the one thing that I came to mind Like, this is the one thing that I said to my mom yesterday when she asked me that. I said, yes, it's absolutely worth it because we do nothing we don't love to do. And that's the truth. My husband loves the job that he has, and he definitely loves the paycheck. I do a million things, and I love them, and I am learning new things, and I'm trying new things, and I love them. And we get to set this example for our son on top of it, who isn't going to want to do anything he doesn't love. He already doesn't. But literally, we are setting this example to him that you don't have to be stuck in a job that you don't love and burnt out and crying for months on end. You know, I told the story before about when I was working at PWA and I cried for 2 months. I literally cried for 2 months, the last 2 months I was there, because I was so miserable. I hated that job so bad at that point. It was so toxic and it was just so unhealthy. And I was miserable. And somehow taking the risk and leaving opened up a world of possibilities for me to do so much more on my own and make so much more money and not be miserable and work on my own terms where I didn't feel like my family was an inconvenience to my job. There's so many people who they sell all their stuff and they go and they travel the world because the opportunities they want aren't in their backyard. And honestly, if you're looking for opportunities in life, stop looking in your backyard because they're not there. They're not in your yard. If they were, you wouldn't need to look for them. They would just come knocking on your door and sit on your couch, say hello. So having that financial stability gives you a chance to venture beyond what you know. It gives you a chance to see other things and do other things and get into rooms that you otherwise would not be able to get in if you had to worry about how am I going to pay my car note, how my kid's going to eat, how my bill's getting paid, like all of these things. One thing that can really be impacted is your family dynamic and the relationship. Breaking the generational curse has a very profound impact on family dynamics and the relationships within them because financial stress often creates tension and conflict within families. So by breaking free of the stress, you're contributing to a more harmonious family environment. You're teaching your children the value of financial security, and you're modeling healthy financial behaviors that they can carry forward. This transformation can also strengthen your relationships as financial arguments and stressors are reduced. You're building a family culture that values stability, love, support, creates a legacy. It's adding peace. There's cohesion. There's so many ways that this can affect your family. And let's face it, we have all argued with our spouse over money. We've all argued with our spouse over money. And when Lucas was younger, anytime me and TJ would argue, he would literally burst into tears. So we got to where we stopped doing that. And this is one of the ways we stopped really arguing about money, is knowing that there is going to be a consistent income. There's going to be a consistent stream of income that supports our family financially, gives us these opportunities. It does everything it needs to do, and it takes the stress off of us. Because if I get stressed, I start yelling. I mean, not as much now, but I used to. I really used to yell the moment I get stressed. And so it really can help take that unnecessary chaos out of your relationship, and it can really put your marriage in a better place. Now, that is not to say that hold on to your marriage until you're in a better place, because it will get better. It doesn't always get better. And if you're in a marriage where you need to let it go, that's okay. That's okay. There's no shame in divorce. But if the problems in your marriage are fixable with money and they're fixable with financial stability, do that. Now, there is a benefit of breaking the curse that can extend to your community and the society you live in as well. You know, financial stability allows you to contribute to your community, whether it's through charitable donations or volunteering, supporting local businesses. Your success can inspire others to finally pursue their own financial goals, and it can create a positive ripple effect in the community. Imagine the impact if more people in your community were financially stable. It would mean a stronger, more resilient neighborhood where people have the means and the mindset to support each other and grow together. And imagine a world where we can help each other out until they no longer need it. Imagine that you're in a community where there is a large amount of people who need assistance, and someone comes in and tells you guys, hey, let's do this to help you reach your financial goals. Let's make a budget, and let's do this, and let's do that, and let's do this. And they teach you. And then the programs in your community no longer have massive lines out the door. There will still be lines. There will still be people that don't want to help themselves. But at the end of the day, the community is going to be able to help a smaller group of people a whole lot easier than they're going to be able to help a big group. And you can really be an example in your community. You could really set an example that helps a community of people grow and break this curse. And from where I'm from, that would be phenomenal if there was truly programs or people that could do that and would do that and help, and it wasn't a money grab situation. But of course, everything's a money grab situation. And the community that I grew up in Western Heights, and I grew up inside the Heights, and then I also grew up 2 blocks away from the Heights. So I get it. I've seen the lines at the fish pantry or the Baptist Center or whatever. I went to the Baptist Center and I got school supplies because it's free school supplies, and my mom was on disability. Like, we didn't have no real income. So imagine being able to break this curse and then share that information and that wealth with your community. And I'm not saying give your money out. I'm saying teach them. I'm saying hold classes that are for free. Check up on them. Build a team of people who just check up and say, hey, you still doing good? We just want to make sure you're still on the right goal to your financial freedom that you're looking for, whatever it may be. Help them find a better neighborhood to live in, or help them become the change they want to be, because some people want to be changed in the neighborhood, but they don't have the resources, and they don't have the platform, and they don't have the knowledge that it takes to get their message out there. So maybe be that for them. I come from Western Heights. I've lived there basically my whole life, and I've never seen more people in my life that want to make a difference than the people that I grew up with. I grew up with a lot of people who were in worse situations than I was in the same neighborhood. We were in the same neighborhood, and they were having it harder than I was, and you would never know it. They would never go to school and tell you. And they are breaking this curse. They're breaking so many other curses, and they're trying to educate. They're trying to give back to the community, and they're trying to make it a stronger and more resilient neighborhood than it is, because they know what it's like to be in that community and be looked down on and be taken advantage of, because you don't have the money, the education, the finances, the opportunities. Because when you live in poverty, the doors don't open. The doors don't open for you the same way they open for someone who has money. There's work that has to be done. So that means at some point someone has to say it's worth it and do it. And I love how many people I grew up with who are doing that. There's so many people I could literally name drop right now and be like, I'm so proud of this person and this person and this person. And I'm watching them do their best. And it's hard, and we're working our butts off, but it's worth it. Because if we don't, then it's going to have to be worth it more to the next generation or the generation after that. And it's going to be harder on them. I'm going to take the heat for my future generations. Period. I'm going to take the heat for future generations. It's hard for me right now, but it's not going to be hard for them. Can I get an amen? Because that's truly how I feel about it. Whew. Let me stop preaching in here. But honestly, there's so many ways that you can use this to impact not only your family, but other families and other generations and other people in your neighborhood and your community. On a personal level, breaking the generational curse of financial struggle leads to greater fulfillment. You're not just surviving, but you're thriving. You're creating a life that reflects your values and your aspirations. You're leaving a legacy behind that goes well beyond financial wealth. You're showing that it's possible to overcome adversity and build a life of meaning and purpose. And basically, all of this goes back to what I was saying before. Your legacy may be breaking this generational curse for your family, but it could also be breaking it for your neighbors, showing them, teaching them, whatever it may be. We always go up to our land and we work, and I look at my husband because I get so aggravated. Our son is 8 years old and he doesn't want to go and he doesn't want to work. He's 8. Of course he doesn't. Plus, we don't have internet up there. So of course he doesn't want to be disconnected from the world. But I look at him and I'm like, this is not for us to just have 3 acres, just ha ha ha. We're doing nothing. We're sitting on it. We got it. There's so much more to the work that we're doing on that land. There's so much more to the work that you're doing that brings in money for your family. It's not just about your bank account balance, but it's about a legacy of resilience and empowerment and possibility. I want you to think about the legacy that you want to leave. You're setting a precedent for future generations. You're showing them that they too can achieve their dreams and break free from the constraints of financial struggle. You're showing them that they too can accomplish things that generations in your family have not accomplished. Not because they weren't able to, because it wasn't worth it to them. And at the end of the day, if we don't want it bad enough, we're never going to make it happen. We're not going to be able to force ourselves to want something we don't. It wasn't worth it to them. That's fine. It's worth it to us, though. So let's crush it. There is a special empowerment and autonomy that come with breaking this curse. There's financial independence with breaking this curse. And it gives you so much control over your life and your decisions. It reduces your reliance on others and fosters a sense of personal freedom. It allows you to shape your own destiny, live life on your own terms. It's so important. Imagine how powerful it feels as a human being to just be able to do what you want and make choices on your desires and your values. Not because you have to, not because you feel like you have to be strong and you have to hold the world up, but because you've set yourself up in a nest egg of financial stability where you can now say, you know what, it is my turn to live, and my responsibilities are not going to go untaken care of, but I also am going to follow my passions and create financial stability from that instead of going to this job that I really hate. It's really about reclaiming control and creating a life that reflects who you are and what you stand for. A lot of us have worked for big companies that have values that do not align with ours, but we needed a paycheck and they took the interview, they hired us, and they offered us that job for $10.25 an hour. But there's nothing like being able to sit here and every day I go through my email and I sit and I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I'm not collabing with them. I'm not going to work with this company. I'm not going to take on this client. I have fired clients because I created a stability for myself and I didn't need that client. I didn't need that client to pay my bills. So I didn't want their disrespect. They were gone. You're not going to disrespect me. I don't need you. And maybe that sounds rude and condescending, but a lot of the times people will take on clients and customers and jobs and they'll stress themselves out and they'll be completely overwhelmed because they have to be there, but it does not align with them at all. Let me tell you, there is a high. There is an extreme high from being able to just tell someone no. Like, no, I don't really need your money that bad. You don't have that power over me to make me drop my values, my morals, to become whatever it is you need me to become that doesn't align with who I am. And it really actually gives you the opportunity to have a better work-life balance too, because if you are already set up and you're breaking this curse and you've got, some stability there that you don't have to worry as much, you can go home a little early and say, you know what, I'm going to go home extra early today and I'm going to start dinner and I'm going to eat dinner with my kids tonight because I don't need to be here. And let's not pretend like we don't live in America where healthcare cost, food cost, wellness cost, literally everything here cost. I mean, let's be honest about it. But organic costs more. Better healthcare costs more. More wellness activities, and instead of having to walk a track at your local high school, maybe in the evening where you don't feel safe, you can go to the Y. That costs though. All these things, they cost. So having a financial stability can provide you better access to better healthcare, better food, better wellness activities, safer environments to participate in these activities. It can help you invest in your physical and your mental well-being, ensuring that you and your family have resources to lead healthy, fulfilling lifestyles. Why do you think the saying, "you're not ugly, you're just broke" come from? Literally, people who are famous and they have all this financial stability, they have doctors on call who, when they get sick, they just come to their house. They don't even have to go sit in an ER with 7 other families that have fevers and are throwing up. They have access to healthcare that we can't even dream of. And have you ever watched a vlog about my day in life in LA? The food is insanely expensive, but it's healthier. These are the things that money can give you that otherwise you're going to not get. You're otherwise not going to have, because nothing in life is free. So when you're not consistently worried about money, you have the bandwidth to focus on your health. You have the ability to say, you know what, I need to make sure that I have a checkup or exercise or have mental health support, because let's not act like therapists and psychiatrists and medication is cheap. It's not. And it leads just to a higher quality of life and a longer, healthier future. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by the grind and you're questioning whether it's all worth it, or you have people in your ear saying it's not worth it, is this worth it, remember this. Breaking the generational curse of financial struggle is about more than just money. It's about creating a legacy of stability and opportunity and empowerment. It's about changing the narrative for yourself and future generations, including generations that are outside of your bloodline, your community, and your neighborhood. Your hard work is laying a foundation. And at the end of the day, a foundation has to be laid and built properly for it to be strong. But once it's done, this foundation will create a brighter and more fulfilling life for you and for many after you. So here's what you can do to stay motivated on this journey, because trust me, I know it's hard. I know it's hard when you would rather be at home with your kids eating dinner. I know it's hard when you have people in your ear doubting you or doubting if it's worth it to you. But at the end of the day, it's not about them and it's not for them. It's for you, and you have to stay motivated on this journey. So make sure you're celebrating your small wins. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Acknowledge and celebrate your progress. Now, that also includes being financially smart when you celebrate your progress. When I got my first customer after I left PWA, I bought a $200 purse. I still have that purse. I'm sure the value has not went up. It was not a very good investment. This year, to celebrate some wins, I bought acreage. I started some new ventures. And I did things that invested in our family. One thing that I really like to do to celebrate wins is go buy a tree. We have land for us. We go buy a tree. We plant a tree. It grows for many, many, many years as long as it's well taken care of. And we don't have to worry about food at the same time. This $32 tree is an investment. Celebrate wins how you want, but I try to use financial literacy as a way to celebrate my wins and continue to make progress in different places, even when it feels like a celebration and not work. If that even makes sense. Another way is to stay educated. Continue learning about financial management and investing. Knowledge is such a powerful tool, and things change so often. One year it is great to invest in the stock market. The next, it's better to have a 401k. The next, it's better for land. You never know. It really depends on the situation, and you just really want to continue learning from reputable sources, of course. I think one of the most important ways that you can stay motivated on this journey is surrounding yourself with the right people. Build a support network. Surround yourself with people who support your goals and can offer advice and encouragement. I took the Nicole Walters 1K 1 Day course, and she was saying how her and a group of friends get together, I think it was like once or twice a year, and they'll get together for a couple days. They'll go to like a luxurious place, and they'll rent out a resort, and they're just hanging out, and then they'll work on their businesses together, and they'll brainstorm together, and they'll come up with solutions together, even though they all have separate businesses. And it really makes you think, like, the people that you're around really do influence your success. And so be picky. I'm just going to be honest. Be real picky and build a support network that you can surround yourself with, and you feel comfortable talking about your goals and asking for advice, because that's important. I don't feel comfortable talking to my family about my goals, and I would never ask them for advice on basically anything, really. So, yeah, no, just surround yourself with people who support you, and they understand your goals, and they understand why you're doing it, and they can really build you up. They can really offer something and not just want your support and be there and tear you down because they don't see your vision. Because I promise you, the right people, even if they don't understand your vision, they're going to still support you, and they're still going to help you, and they're still going to push you. They're going to give you advice, even if it's not going to be what you need. It might be helpful in some way, and they're going to give it. They're going to come when you finally make this vision a reality, and they're going to show their support, and they're going to encourage you to do the next thing. That's the right people for you. And just always keep the big picture in mind. Remember why you're starting this journey. Keep your long-term goals and the broader impact in focus, because it can feel like it's not worth it if you look at it and you're like, I did all that work just for this paycheck. But like, this paycheck isn't the goal. It's great, but it's not the goal. Keep those goals in mind. Keep that big picture in mind. Because to my mom, when she looks at the situation, it's not worth it to her. It's not her goals. But to me, it is. To me, it is worth it. And to me, these goals are worth reaching for me to be extremely exhausted by the end of the day and not have time for anyone outside of my immediate household and build the legacy that I want to build. So is it worth it? Is it worth it to work and work and work? Is it worth it to not have time for relationships outside of your home? Is it worth it to miss some stuff and to not be able to do the same things everybody else is doing because you have bigger goals? I can't answer that for you. And if it's not worth it, that's okay. But the curses you don't break will fall on your kids. It will be their responsibility to break or drop the ball to the next generation. So for me, yes. Yes, it's worth it. It's worth it that my child does not struggle the same way that I do with all the same things I do that are otherwise unavoidable. Healthcare, food, mental health, stressors because of bills, all these things are unavoidable and will be impacted regardless. So to me, yes, it's worth it. You, however, have to decide that for yourself and move accordingly. Thank you for joining me on this episode of In Your 30s. If you found today's discussion helpful, please subscribe, leave a review, share this episode with someone who might need a little extra motivation. Maybe they're feeling discouraged. Maybe they don't know if it's worth it. Until next time, keep pushing forward, keep breaking those curses, and know that your hard work is truly worth it. Take care, 30-something gang.